Have you ever woken up, looked in the mirror, and wondered, what happened to the man you used to be? Your eyes seem duller, your skin feels tired, and down below, something's not working the way it used to. You're not alone. But here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. What's slowly draining your confidence, your energy, and your strength might actually begin with clogged veins inside your penis. And what if I told you that a simple household ingredient, baking soda, could help you take back control? My name is Dr. James. I'm a board-certified men's health specialist with over 30 years of experience helping older men reclaim their vitality without pills, surgeries, or shame. I've sat across from thousands of patients who've told me the same thing. You feel like you're fading, but you don't have to. Because here's where it gets interesting. Baking soda, when used correctly, doesn't just settle an upset stomach. It can actually restore balance inside your blood, clear the path for better circulation, support prostate health, and yes, even reignite the kind of erections you thought were long gone. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to use baking soda to restore your blood flow, rebuild your glow, and bring confidence back into your mornings. And later, I'll share the biggest mistake older men make with baking soda that could quietly sabotage everything. Stick with me because this one small shift could change how you feel for the rest of your life. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time. Hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another powerful tip designed to help you restore strength, blood flow, and confidence after 60. And if this message speaks to you, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. I'm here to serve you better, and your feedback guides every word I share. Now, let's start where the problem truly begins, because before baking soda can help, you need to understand what's actually going wrong inside your body after 60. The truth is, it's not just aging. It's poor circulation, especially in the smallest, most sensitive veins right in your pelvis. This is where your energy fades, your erections weaken, and your confidence begins to slip. So let me show you exactly why blood flow down there starts to slow and what that means for your strength as a man. 1. Why blood flow below the belt changes after 60. I still remember the day one of my longtime patients, Gerald, sat across from me. Mid-60s, retired electrician, proud grandfather. He looked me in the eye and said, "Doc, I feel like I'm disappearing. Not just in the bedroom, but in life." And he's not alone. What many men don't realize is that the first place age makes itself known isn't the face or the back, it's in the bloodstream, especially in the most sensitive area of all, below the belt. After 60, your blood vessels begin to stiffen. Your body loses some of its ability to produce nitric oxide, the chemical that signals your blood vessels to relax and widen. And those tiny veins in the penis, the ones that fuel firmness, sensation, and stamina, are the first to feel the impact. Even the smallest blockages or restrictions can lead to slower blood flow, weaker erections, and a subtle but steady decline in confidence. You might notice colder feet, slower mornings, longer recovery times after intimacy. These are more than just signs of getting older. They're red flags from your circulatory system. And unfortunately, most men either ignore them or assume it's just part of life. But let me tell you something I've learned after 3 decades of helping men. Losing blood flow doesn't mean losing manhood. Not if you know how to fight back. And that's where baking soda comes in. Not as a miracle cure, but as a powerful tool to help open up what time has narrowed. But how exactly does it do that? What's happening inside your body when that white powder hits the bloodstream? You're about to find out, and it might just surprise you. 2. What baking soda really does inside your body. The first time I told a patient that baking soda could help his circulation, he laughed. "Doc," he said, "you mean the stuff I use to clean my fridge?" I smiled. Yes, that exact stuff. But what it does inside your body is a lot more powerful than most men realize. That patient's name was Thomas, age 67, former high school football coach. He had that strong, stubborn kind of pride many men carry, the kind that makes asking for help difficult. But he was tired of feeling tired. He wanted his strength back, his clarity, and yes, his confidence. What I explained to Thomas is the same thing I want to share with you now. As we age, our bodies become more acidic, not in mood, but in chemistry. Stress, medications, processed foods, and even a sedentary lifestyle push your internal environment toward inflammation and imbalance. That acidic shift damages your blood vessels, weakens nitric oxide production, and clogs up the vital pathways responsible for blood flow and energy. Baking soda, or sodium bicarbonate, helps restore balance. It neutralizes excess acid in your bloodstream, creating a more alkaline environment where oxygen flows better, inflammation drops, and nitric oxide can do its job. Think of it like gently clearing traffic on a busy highway. Suddenly, everything starts moving again. When used properly, baking soda doesn't just help your gut or your joints. It lays the groundwork for circulation, vitality, and cellular repair. You may not feel it right away, but inside your blood vessels, change begins to stir. A little more flow, a little more fire, and that's where it all starts. But if you want to feel that change where it matters most, where your confidence, performance, and manhood meet, you'll need to understand how baking soda actually supports erections and energy. And trust me, this is where it gets really interesting. 3. How baking soda supports erections and energy. Let me tell you about Richard. He was 73 when he came into my office, quiet, polite, and clearly discouraged. "I don't need miracles," he said, "just a little life back in my mornings." What struck me most wasn't what he said, it was what he didn't say. The unspoken weight so many men carry when their body doesn't respond like it used to. When you still desire intimacy, but your body feels like it's working against you. I've seen it again and again. That loss doesn't just affect performance, it eats away at identity. What Richard didn't know, and what most men don't realize, is that baking soda can actually play a subtle but powerful role in restoring both energy and erections. When taken properly, it raises the body's internal pH, reducing inflammation and freeing up nitric oxide, the molecule responsible for dilating blood vessels. And when those vessels dilate, blood flows, not just to your brain or muscles, but to the very core of your manhood. Better circulation means stronger, more reliable erections, less fatigue, quicker recovery, and most of all, renewed confidence. It's not magic, and it's not overnight. But for men like Richard, within 2 to 3 weeks of using a low daily dose of baking soda, paired with simple pelvic stretches and consistent hydration, he began waking up with what he called the old spark. His posture changed, his mood lifted, he started making eye contact again. That's what this is really about. Reclaiming the fire that time tried to dim, and it starts with helping your blood move the way it was meant to. Of course, baking soda is only helpful if used the right way, and unfortunately, most men make a few common mistakes that actually cancel out the benefits. Let me show you what those are so you don't waste your time or your results. 4. Warning: don't make these 3 mistakes with baking soda. I'll never forget Paul, a 70-year-old former Marine who came to see me after trying baking soda on his own. "I read it could help," he said, "so I started taking a big spoonful every morning with breakfast." He looked frustrated. Nothing changed. If anything, I felt more bloated and my blood pressure went up. That's when I knew we had to start from scratch, because while baking soda can be a powerful tool, it's not something to use blindly. The truth is, most men who try baking soda make at least one of 3 common mistakes. And unfortunately, these mistakes don't just limit the benefits, they can completely reverse them. The first is taking it with food. When you drink baking soda with a full stomach, it neutralizes stomach acid, interfering with digestion and preventing proper absorption. The right way? Take it on an empty stomach, preferably in the morning, at least 30 minutes before breakfast. The second mistake is taking too much. Some men assume that more equals better, but that's never true in medicine. High doses can raise your sodium levels, cause bloating, or even worsen blood pressure. You don't need more than a quarter teaspoon in a full glass of water. Consistency matters far more than quantity. And the third mistake is skipping a medical check-in. If you're on medications, especially for blood pressure or kidneys, you need to talk to your doctor before starting. Not because baking soda is dangerous, but because your body deserves care, not risk. Once Paul adjusted his dosage and timing, his results were completely different. Energy improved, his bloating vanished, and he finally started to feel the difference. But knowing what not to do is only half the story. Let me now walk you through exactly how to do it right, with the 7-day baking soda protocol I've used with hundreds of men to help restore their blood flow, clarity, and strength. 5. The 7-day baking soda blood flow reset protocol. When I first introduced this 7-day baking soda protocol to my patients, I honestly didn't expect the kind of responses I received. Men who had been stuck in a cycle of low energy and fading intimacy were calling my office just days in, saying things like, "Doc, I feel clearer, lighter, like something's waking up inside me." It's a feeling you can't fake, and it's not coming from a bottle or a pill. It's coming from your own body, learning how to function better with just a little support. This protocol is simple but powerful. You begin each morning on an empty stomach with a glass of water, about 8 ounces, mixed with just 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Not more, not less. You drink it slowly, giving your body time to absorb. Within 30 minutes, many men begin to notice improved digestion and a subtle lift in energy. But that's just the start. Some of my patients choose to add a squeeze of lemon for added alkalizing benefits and liver support. Then I encourage 5 minutes of slow breathing, just sitting still, hands on the belly, feeling the body settle. After that, a short walk or a few light pelvic stretches can make a world of difference. These small actions, repeated daily, help signal your body to wake up, restore blood flow, and gently build momentum. In the evening, I recommend a warm cup of herbal tea, like chamomile, to lower cortisol and support deep sleep. Do this routine for 7 days, then take a short break before continuing again. It's not just a ritual, it's a message to your body that it's time to repair, recover, and return to strength. And while this protocol works beautifully on its own, when you combine it with the right foods that nourish your blood vessels and your vitality, you multiply the results in ways you never thought possible. Let me show you what to eat to take this even further. 6. Supercharge the results with these foods. When I started guiding my patients through the baking soda routine, many of them came back to me after a week and asked, "Is there anything I can eat to make this work even better?" And my answer was always the same: absolutely. What you put on your plate can either fight against your progress or fuel it. And for men over 60, your food choices are no longer just about filling your stomach, they're about feeding your blood, your cells, and yes, your masculinity. There are certain foods that seem almost designed to help your circulation, your nitric oxide production, and your vitality. Beets are one of my personal favorites. Rich in nitrates, they naturally widen blood vessels and improve oxygen delivery throughout your body, especially where it matters most. Spinach, loaded with magnesium, not only supports testosterone levels but calms the nervous system and reduces inflammation. Tomatoes bring in lycopene, which protects the prostate and supports long-term reproductive health. And then there's watermelon, sweet, refreshing, and packed with citrulline, a compound known to support natural erection quality by helping blood vessels relax. Don't forget walnuts either. Just a handful a day gives your body L-arginine, another key player in nitric oxide production. Together, these foods form a foundation, a way to nourish your body while helping baking soda do its job more effectively. Over time, these choices add up. You feel stronger, clearer, and maybe even a little younger. But there's something else that often gets overlooked, something that has nothing to do with what you eat or drink. It's emotional, it's invisible, and it could be the reason why, even when your body starts to change, you still don't feel quite like yourself. Let's talk about that next. 7. Emotional healing. Why confidence fades and how to rebuild it. I've seen it more times than I can count. A man comes into my office thinking he has a blood pressure problem or a circulation issue. But as we talk, it becomes clear what he's really lost isn't just function, it's confidence. It's identity. And somewhere along the way, he stops seeing himself as powerful, attractive, or even worthy of intimacy. Not because he gave up, but because he quietly started believing he was no longer allowed to feel those things. And I understand. As we age, the world starts to treat us differently. Doctors talk around us, commercials ignore us, and even people close to us begin assuming we've moved on from desire, from drive, from fire. But inside, the truth is often the opposite. That part of you, the part that wants to be seen, to be touched, to feel strong again, it doesn't disappear. It simply waits for permission to rise. One of the most beautiful things I witness in my practice is when a man reconnects with himself, not just physically, but emotionally. When his posture changes, his tone of voice returns, and he looks in the mirror and says, "I feel like me again." And no supplement or medication can create that feeling. It comes from within. It's the reward of doing the work, listening to your body and reclaiming what was never lost, only buried. Now, as your confidence begins to rise again and your body starts to respond, you might wonder, how soon will I actually feel it? When will the changes show up in real, everyday ways? Let's talk about exactly what to expect next, day by day. 8. What to expect. Day by day changes. One of the first questions I get from my patients, sometimes even before they've taken their first sip, is, how soon will I feel something? And I always answer the same way. Your body has its own clock, but when you give it what it's been needing, it doesn't stay quiet for long. You see, real healing isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it starts as a whisper, a little more ease in your joints, a bit more warmth in your hands, a deeper breath that just feels good for no reason at all. In the first day or two, most men notice that their digestion feels lighter, more comfortable. Urination becomes a bit smoother, and there's a sense of reduced tension in the lower belly. By day 3 or 4, something shifts. Mornings become a little less sluggish. Your head feels clearer, and maybe, just maybe, you begin waking up with those familiar signs of vitality returning. By the end of the first week, some men describe it as feeling reconnected. Not to some idea of youth, but to themselves. Their bodies feel responsive again. Their moods feel calmer. There's a sense of forward motion. And for those who stick with the process, pairing baking soda with the right foods, movement, and intention, those quiet shifts often grow into something much bigger. Confidence rises, stamina improves, and life becomes a little more joyful again. But before we close, I want to leave you with something deeper, because this journey isn't just about baking soda, erections, or even blood flow. It's about what it means to still be fully alive at 60, 70, or even 80. So let's bring it all together and talk about what your next chapter could really look like. Body recap. When I think about the men I've worked with over the past 30 years, I see a common thread. Strong men, quiet about their struggles, waiting for permission to take their health seriously again. And it's often something simple, something overlooked, that opens the door. That's what baking soda can be. Not a miracle, but a reset. It helps lower inflammation, ease acidity, and restore the kind of blood flow that matters. Not just for intimacy, but for energy, memory, and everyday confidence. We've looked at why blood flow declines after 60, how baking soda works inside your body, and how it supports real changes in erections, stamina, and clarity. I've warned you about common mistakes and shared a 7-day protocol used by real men with real results. We've explored the foods that fuel this process and the emotional healing that must walk beside it. Because this isn't about being young again, it's about being fully alive now. And when you know what to expect, day by day, change by change, you stop doubting yourself and start listening to your body again. That's where strength begins. That's where your next chapter truly starts.